Hey, Henry McClure Live. How are you today? Hey, Matt Pavarnak, thank you for the text. First, I think it's a beautiful thing that you've been praying for me. And know that my spiritual growth really is what saved my life. When people want to talk about my drug addiction, and I think alcoholism is, goes under that, for me, on May 2nd, 2015, it will be 9 years. So divine intervention is what saved my life because you can just ask Topeka about drunk Henry because that's that's the guy they want to for you for for everybody to remember because you could control drunk Henry, you could kick around drunk Henry. Sober, clean and sober Henry's a little tougher guy to deal with. And the longer I live, the younger I'm becoming. And I really think that longevity is what it takes to win in Topeka. So, Mace Siegel, my mentor, always said to be in the real estate business, you have to have a long memory. And this is the point I've made so poorly to the universe is the reason we need to change economic development. I mean, not just because you're fleecing the taxpayers with the overhead. Even Jimbo said he's going to call you. The the economic development needs to leave the Greater Topeka Partnership. And I want to know, and I got to do my homework. I want to know if that $15,000 in incentive is coming from the taxpayers. This all is coming, it's all becoming so much more important because I can't change it out here, but could I change it being an elected official? And I asked a friend of mine, I said, will 9 years being clean and sober be enough to allow Topeka to elect a guy like me? And he's a very prominent business owner. And he goes, don't worry, Henry, they'll come up with something on you. And you guys are going to try to probably bring forward drunk Henry. But there's not a better real estate guy than me, especially in your life. You wouldn't have got Lake Sherwood if I treated you the way you treated me. And don't take, so now what we really need to do is we need to start separating Henry the individual and Matt Pavarnak the individual, if there's a way to do it. You've got a good job, you're doing well. Um, hey, you're praying for me. You're a good man. You got a beautiful wife. You got great kids. You're a good dad. You listen to my advice. You've got a good home on Lake Sherwood because I had an idea. And that's what I'm trying to convey to you guys is that's why we need to bring forward everybody that wants to participate in making Topeka better in the real estate business. And I want Go Topeka to deed back the real. You have no business owning real estate and having title to it. On top of that, you have no business controlling the economic development funds at the same time. And you have no business whatsoever Housing Go Topeka as part of the Greater Topeka Partnership. You have no business using tax dollars to have a diversity, equity, and inclusion person on our tax dollars. Look, if you guys don't know what to do and how to treat people right, you shouldn't have the grant. And I like what Elon Musk says. Well, just the thought of that program is discrimination. Here's the point. So let's move on from that. Just go over to the city of Topeka. They've got a whole department of that. So I'll tell you, if I'm a county commissioner, I would hire Molly on her own and find her office space in the county. I'd give her a job. Hell, she's learned a lot. She's a resource now. So it's a different world we live in today. So I'm not in favor of the way you do things. No, I'm not. And if that's where the rubber meets the road, I'm fine with that. And continue to pray for me, and I'll pray for you. And you're just not going to have to take it personally. And maybe this is the division. Maybe this is where we break a plate, maybe. But I'm telling you, I've lived in Winter Park, Florida, Boulder, Colorado, Chattanooga, Tennessee, back to Boulder, Greeley, Long Beach. When I lived in Long Beach, I worked up in the valley. Um, I, I worked in Reno. There was not a better chamber of commerce than the Reno Chamber. It was cool. That was a fun one. That was the absolute best time I had, but I was living a different lifestyle when I was working and living in Reno, and anybody that knows me can attest to that. I moved up to Ventura, and then in Ventura, I started traveling nationwide. And most of our malls, this was all for the Macerich Company, and all I'm doing every day is putting people in business. And I was in the leasing end since 1984. So my whole job every day is to meet new people, put them in business, make the leases, find find the best people to put in the malls, because not only did people pay a base rent, they paid sales over and above the base sales, and we earned percentage rent. So it was for us, it was our quest to put the right people in the malls. Back to the right people. The right people. And the beautiful thing about the malls, which Cody will love, is now he doesn't have to go get approvals, you know? I mean, getting a permit will be, Matt, it took me 2 years to get a permit out behind Ace Hardware. What'd you do for me there? But what I've felt since, so let's continue real quick, because after Ventura, I went to Kansas City. I went down to Tampa. Now, Tampa had an incredible, they had the same thing, but their division of Go Topeka was called the Committee of 100, and it was amazing. We were getting stuff like, you'd get a fax every day almost for requests for proposals, and John Hancock was my client. I took a 1,300,000 foot mall, DeBartolo's first mall that he built down in Florida, and we de-leased it. The first lease we did was a call center for um, General Motors. Then we built a mall for call centers. We put in a computer learning, we put in a gym, we put in a food service, we had a full time daycare. and that was a going Jesse. In fact, Google Net Park Tampa Bay, and you'll find out that that was one of the best mall conversions ever. So, for the first time, somebody asked me my opinion. It was great. And a friend of mine said, "Well, Henry, nobody wanted to listen to Drunk Henry. They don't get you. They don't understand about your, they don't look, the people of AA, they don't even understand divine intervention. There's people out there grinding their teeth every day about figuring out how to not drink today, or some drunks got to stop minute by minute. There's so many triggers. And it's kind of funny. I tell people that, well, everybody that got turned down by Go Topeka would meet at the bar and we'd drink a lot and start doing deals with each other. And the funny thing is, that's true. It happened. That's the truth. So in the drug addiction world, there's triggers and resentments, right? Well, my resentment is that Go Topeka, hey, if it weren't for Big Jim, we wouldn't have gone to Vegas. I was trying to get everybody to say, economic development is retail development that creates sales tax. But no, you've got all this stuff out here. And so if you've got 7,000 jobs, is that what it says? 7,000 jobs. Well, why are we spending money to create more jobs when we can't fill the ones we have? We have to pivot. Matt, we've got to pivot and make it to where people want to live here. So we got to do things differently. We got to fix our roads. We got to make it to where we're not boiling water. We got to cut the $1.9 million in overhead to go to Pica. The thing is, with you government guys and that are living off the dole and donations, you don't know what it's like to be out here. You don't know what it's like to have to live commission by commission. You can't relate. So that's why I want to include 650 businesses. I want to engage 650 businesses, at least give 650 people that are an individual business the opportunity to grow Topeka. Hell, those people can sell Topeka better than anybody. And what we need to do is we need to start making it to where people want to sell it. Do I really want to have my clients come here? How in the hell would I ever get a deal done? Uh, when it takes 2 years to get a Pizza Hut? Why would I tell a friend to come here? And I have no, you guys have got to control all the money because you've got to start looking good to keep sucking the tax dollars. So this is where the rubber meets the road. I didn't elect Go Topeka, and I want to get elected to unelect to cut off your funds. I want to start putting money into infrastructure. Economic development starts in the neighborhoods. Hey, what about, you know, uh, I have a box from Fergie's Clubhouse when I bought that of pictures that maybe some people don't want some of those published. But I digress a little bit. Not everybody sees my humor as funny, but you're not living up to the original reason I went out. The money was to to grow the tax base, to lower the burden, and to grow the population. And you haven't succeeded. So right there's the reason to cut the money, because I don't believe you're living up to the form. I want to cut the money because you've never helped me personally. I want to cut the money because if there's 7,000 jobs that need to be filled in the community and it was your job to bring the people here, you're another failure. So if everybody thinks it's so great at the Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce to have Go Topeka, pay for it. Just pay for it yourself. Because I want to direct all the economic development money into infrastructure. I want to change the way we do economic development, and we don't need you anymore. We're done. So 650 people that already are in the real estate business create jobs. Because if they get a task, a new listing, they need more help, photographers, engineers, architects, promotion, graphics. Each one of us has to do our own deal to bring forth the marketing, and so we create some sort of listing agreement where you remove that sign on that Kansas City on the land that I sold Go Topeka. Here I am, the self-righteous Henry. Yeah, I got my check in my hand and I got to be self-righteous. And I told Doug Kinzinger, boy, that dude hated me. I told Doug Kinzinger that that's a really bad use of the taxpayer dollars. But I was also angry. I was really deep down angry that Bill Haynes, a city councilman, got $4,000 more an acre for land that wasn't even in the Commerce Park. And when I'm getting back into living all those cities, Topeka seems to be the largest at pay to play. And I don't think I'm running against Kevin Cook or one of the Aklas that will come forward, because I think that will happen. What I have to run against is the chamber and the mentality of how Topeka should be. That's so really my candidacy is against the Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce as I see it. I just remember in my lifetime where Republicans and Democrats work together. And I've had some really nice Republicans tell me they're going to help me get elected. And I've had some nice Democrats help me say they're going to help me get elected. So at least this is a warning that, hey, I want to do things differently. But the warning, I think, is more, I think you're going to hear it more. I think it's sophistry when you tell me that article you're getting a lot of accolades for it. Because I just got off the phone with an elected official that told me they're getting phone calls. They want to know what the hell's going on. And Mayor Mike Padilla, if you are for, because the way the article's written is that we're begging people to come here that are just walking across the border. And what's this going to do to the homeless situation? We've got unemployment of 2.9%. That's low. But if we would just make it treat it like Reno, one of the best places to ever do business, because like all the local people, they were savvy. I'm going to tell you a little story about Victor Valdez. Victor Valdez was a good dude working for Barnett Hellsberg. And they're clipping along. I think they were doing about 1.7 million in sales volume. And so Victor came to me as a leasing guy and he said, look, I want to rent a kiosk out here. I want to leave Hellsberg and I want to do my own deal. Victor, out of 144 feet, did um, 500 grand, and Hellsberg went up 300 grand. So there's 800,000 in new sales volume of jewelry business. Because if you're going to go out and buy jewelry, you ought to go to Park Lane Mall. And that's what I think where the chamber stifles growth in Topeka, because um, there's an inherent conflict of interest from your base, the people that pay your base salary, for protectionism. Your job is out there to protect the existing people. And so why so we don't look at it like um, the pull factor. If we grow the pull factor, every sales tax, every nickel that's spent in Topeka outside of that comes from outside Shawnee County, that's a windfall. So I think retail development today is the way to go, because, well, that's what I know. I grew up in the mall business. My forte, my last job working at Mace Rich was was introducing people to the mall business. And I could do one deal with them, or I could take them across the portfolio. And Mace Rich's roots really are Topeka. There's a lot of nice people, thanks to Dana K. Anderson, that got jobs. And the whole thing wouldn't have happened without Mace Siegel ground leasing some land up on the boulevard. So Mace and Dana developed that in the 60s. Dana had to go out and get the traffic light, got it from KDOT. He said, you want to talk about discrimination? Mace goes, the New York Jew walks into the Midwest. He goes, I couldn't get anything done. But I hired the Swedish boy over here from Topeka. Hey, the doors opened up. And Mace always, one of the first things he said about being in the real estate business was just treat people the way you want to be treated. So if you feel that I've been hard on you personally, I apologize. If Molly thinks I threatened her, or, and that's asinine, that shit's got to stop. The situation of defunding Go Topeka, or being angry that I've never gotten any help, but that dog ain't going to hunt, buddy. There are going to be more people that have resentments against the chamber and Go Topeka. My deal's going to be easy to sell. I'm just telling you. The way this article is written, and if the mayor of our city isn't going to come out and take a stand, well, maybe it's time, some I got to get to the bottom of this. But we can't have it as the policy of this community that we're attracting. We want to attract people that aren't in the country legally. And it's not about, there's bad actors that are white, black, brown, yellow, whatever, coming across that border, bringing in fentanyl, bringing in ideology, bringing in ideology that's not human. And that's kind of where we are today. We're at an ideology debate. You love your job, Molly loves her job. You don't really have to perform, and you get paid every day. I look at it from the other side of the fence. Number one, you've hurt me professionally. But number two, you're wasting taxpayer money. And you're doing it wrong. I disagree with the way your marketing approach. I want the roads fixed. I don't want to have to boil water. I want to create an even playing field that any one of the 650 people that want to that are member of the Sunflower Board of Realtors, every one of them, because somewhere out there there's a guy out there hiding in the weeds, and he's got an idea and knows something, just like when you looked at me at Pizza Pub and said, I want to live at Lake Sherwood. Let's go back to that day. I guess you liked me that day because I remember I was wearing a suit. I was looking good. Because Pizza Pub was going to be, we were going to open up 100 stores, and that was our premier store to go to different malls. I had three leases in process with Simon up in Seattle, and our food guy Ryan Duncan didn't want to move to Seattle. He was a partner in the company. So what? You didn't want to move? Okay, fine. Well, and man, I'm telling you something. I ended up running Pizza Pub for a while, and then when I'm running Pizza Pub, the director of planning says that economic development is a bark park. I screwed up that day because I went to a an AA meeting to tell my story, and that was, emotional maturity comes slow in this process. So you say I write these emails that are cryptic and they come at all hours. Well, look, dude, I got to work different hours. Oh man. But you ain't wrong. The other day, I wrote an email to a client, and he goes, I don't understand what you're saying. This is just the other day. So I took the same email, ran it through AI, and he goes, oh, I get it. Fortunately for AI, huh? Well, I've covered a lot of ground. And in closing, one of the things I do want to say, for leaving for 18 years and coming home, and I've been a member of the chamber on and off. I'll never forget Neil Dobler called me up, asked me to be a member of the chamber, and I was all encouraged. And then dude never called me back. Still doesn't call me back. He helped me in the beginning when he was in public works. And then I just don't know, I'm not going to count another man's money, but how much has it been to enrich Bartlett and West with, Topeka jobs, or, Topeka taxpayer dollars, Shawnee County. But that's the way of the world. I mean, that's acceptable. You should be able to be a businessman. And Neil, hey, sorry if we haven't gotten along, buddy. A friend of mine was telling me I'm a little rough on you. And I know you got a lot of challenges too going on in your life. But I like you. You're a good guy. Back in the days of public works, you and Tepley were always nice to me. Always like that dude that put the benefit districts together. So that's a lot. That's a lot. So we'll leave it at that. My office is always wide open for you. I don't expect to get any PAC money from you. That's okay. Keep praying for me. That's nice. Spiritual healing is so important. And that's the key to Topeka being better, the spiritual healing. We've got to get, if we just attack the drug problem, the drug addicts, we start solving the homeless issue. But if you're encouraging people to come here that walked across the border without anything, aren't you just maybe in the long run, maybe going to impact the homeless? From what I understand, I don't know everything about it, but these people automatically, they're starting off. And before we get into the politics of why one guy's trying to shut the border and one guy trying to keep the border closed for our protection, before we get into that, let's just talk about what we're dealing with. It's not fair to the American public that these people start off, I think, at 2,000 a month on their little card, get a cell phone, all this stuff. Anybody that these guys, they're trying to get it to where these guys can register to vote. The average Social Security payment in America, from what I understand, is $1,400 a month. These are people that work their whole life. And now you walk into this country illegally. Hey, don't call them illegals. Well, if you tell a lie, you're a liar. If you shoplift a candy bar, you're a thief. We can, hey, look, if you're born a man, you're a man. If you're born a woman, you're a woman. Let's get back to spiritual healing. Just because you want to change your gender doesn't mean, there's two genders. For that, if you're in the ballot box, what does he think about that? Over time, I've been fiscally conservative and socially moderate. I maybe have not been the best shepherd of my own funds over the years. Getting better at it. Taking better care of my health. Following Dr. Gundry. Understanding the microbiome. Drink sauerkraut juice to detox your liver. The liver alone does like 530 different functions. Learn how to feed your gut buddies. So I'm becoming younger. I'm getting more energy. But I think that's what it's going to take to change Topeka. And that is the most incredible thing, that Topeka could change. A lot of good businesses have started here, and I think about Mace Rich. Could lightning strike again? you know, we got to convince Mr. Klossman that local real estate guys maybe could do the job. Jimbo, I'm looking for some listing. But I want to take all the land that Go Topeka has title to, and I want to list it so 650 people can have a wild idea, just the way you got into your house. Because the guy that's sitting on the couch right now drinking a beer, watching a soap opera, he might know a guy. Oh, man. Henry McClure Live, thanks for your time and consideration. We just happen to be on different sides of the fence, I guess, today. Or sometimes maybe we're on the same side and we just don't communicate it. Tell Wendy she's a good lady. Look at that. That came from the house you bought. Those people were such nice people. You told me that you stay in touch with them. That's neat. You didn't stay in touch with me. I never got to see the renovation. I told you it was a great house. It's oversized. You'll fit into it. You're a tall dude. Hey, look at that. I was the original developer of that. Well, time to sign off. Follow my YouTube channel. And if you personally want to contribute to my campaign, or if you want to donate it to the Republican Party, I'm okay with that. Thanks, Matt. Keep praying. Henry McClure Live.